If you like my videos, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to leave a comment below. There is plenty of timestamps for you to check, such as items, gems and more. The full build cost is 200 C, and there's a full breakdown of every single item that I was buying, such as the chest costed me 10 C and I spent another 6 C on a craft, and that gives us a total 16 C. You can find the full breakdown of every single item, gem and jewel that I bought to make up for those 200 C. So this build is a very cheap Oro sacrifice flicker strike, and that's what you're seeing on the screen is a T10 race core when I'm gonna be doing the full run, doing some essence, harvest, ritual, generic mapping stuff that you would expect to do. This build is like a very low budget entry, super entry scuffed build to get you into the flicker strike and have some fun, because I only spend them on this build 200 C. I would consider this build a fairly good league starter if you just wanna quickly farm the white and yellow maps. Sure, I did attempt it at T15 dunes and I had some success, but killing the boss was super slow, so I would just stick with the yellow map until you can farm some currency, and then you can get in the proper flicker strike build. So what I would do with this build, I would be farming any yellow maps just to gather enough currency and farming maybe some legions. I'm gonna leave a Atlas passive in the description what I would use just for this build to get more currency. And after that, you're still gonna be using Slayer, you're just gonna be respecting a lot of points, because a lot of points on our passive tree are very bad choices, such as some resistance nodes. After you gather enough currency, you should respec out of this build and go into Slayer Flicker Strike fully cold, stacking your damage from the Ice Bite and like added cold damage. For the maps that you're gonna be doing, the build is fairly tanky, as we have Fortify, we're using Determination to get ourselves a little bit armor, we're converting the evasion to armor as well. We're taking a note, the mastery on the passive tree, that we cannot get corrupted blood on ourselves. On top of that, whenever we're using molten shell, we're removing the bleeding and the corrupted blood as well. So the bleeding and the corrupted blood is not of a big of a problem for ourselves. On top of that, we're using enduring cry to get ourselves the enduring charges and get some regen, as we can pop our enduring cry while we're flicker striking. Then we're popping out some totems on the boss just to get a little bit more damage. So overall, this build is great if you just want to get into the flicker strike, or you never played flicker strike and you don't have too much currency. At this point, you should watch the full map video, as I'm gonna be doing a little bit more of the map content, and you should decide for yourself, do you want to start flicker striking on a low budget, and I will see you after the map with a little bit more explanation.
can't do this.
For your bandits, we're choosing to help a little. For your Pantheon choice, we're just gonna be going with Soul of Aberrant, and we can get that soul by completing a T7 summit. And for our major god, we're gonna be using Soul of Brine King, and we're only interested in You Cannot Be Frozen, though you can get a T10 Cold River. For your Ascendancy point, first we're going Brutal Fervor, then we're going Impact, after that we're going Overwhelm, and last we're going Bane of the Legend. For your flask choice, first flask that we should be using is a life flask. Either we can using a hallowed life flask, or we can use a unique flask, Blood of the Curry. This choice is up to you, and both of them are great. So that's your first flask. The rest of the 4 flasks are very flexible. You can use a movement flask if you want to get around much quicker. You can use the worms if you just want to keep up with your leech, as we are a slayer. Then I would say, if you pick up the movement flask, I would recommend using a diamond flask. This will help you out getting your career chance a bit higher. And after that, it's totally up to you, but I would recommend getting yourself a chaos flask, because our chaos res is a bit low, so we can get a bit of a chaos res over here. And I would say, whatever the flask you want to socket as a last one, that's your choice. For your main weapon, you're gonna be using Oro Sacrifice, and the quality on this weapon does not provide for us nothing. You just want to get as high as damage as you can for cheaply as you can. After that, you're gonna be using Devotion. We're just looking for maximum chaos res and as much as armor as you can get. Then one of our rings gonna be the Taming. This just gives us a little bit more extra damage and resistance. Your body armor, you're just looking for life resistance and int. Your amulet is just life and resistance. And acuity, the anointment, it's very cheap. You can get it for about 5C, so get it. This will help you out a little bit. Your ring, again, it's life, resistance, int, and open prefix for the non-channeling would be nice. Then we're taking advantage of the new Maginot Vice gloves, as they provide us with the melee splash damage, and the negative of those gloves, that we're always hitting enemies, we're always gonna knock back. But these downsides for the Flicker side does not exist, as you're always gonna be on the top of the enemy. So we're getting a free melee splash because of those gloves. Our belt slot is a Magnate. Again, we're getting some strength, resistance, we're getting some flash charges. Since we have 200 strength, we're getting the 10% chance to do a double damage. And we're using Dark Ray Vectors just for the +1 maximum frenzy charges. So here's the gem setup for our build. In our Oro Sacrifice, we're gonna be using Protector, multiple totems, Warchief, and you have 1 spare socket. You can use whatever you want. In your helmet, you're gonna be using Enduring Cry, Molten Shell, Faster Attack, Lip Slam. In your gloves, you're gonna be using Determination, Precision, Anger, and you have 1 free socket. In your boots, you're gonna be using Life Tap. You can use level 1, Assassin's Mark, Mark on Support, Blood Rage. In your main chest, in main body armor, we're gonna be using Diversion, Flicker Strike, just for the teleporting range. We're gonna be using Immolate, Inspiration, Fire Pen, Multi-Strike, and Close Combat.